Good evening, I'm Byron Scott with a CTV News update. More than 2 years after a botched police raid, 4 Louisville, Kentucky officers face charges in the death of Breonna Taylor. U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland today announcing federal civil rights charges against the officers. Taylor, a medical worker, was shot to death in her home in March of 2020 in a case that sparked national outrage. A police unit was executing a series of search warrants for suspected drug activity when they barged into Taylor's home.
A 5th search warrant was for Breonna Taylor's home, which was approximately 10 miles away from the West End. The federal charges announced today allege that members of the Place-Based Investigations Unit falsified the affidavit used to obtain the search warrant of Ms. Taylor's home, that this act violated federal civil rights laws, and that those violations resulted in Ms. Taylor's death.
The officers face obstruction, conspiracy, and unconstitutional use of force charges. Well, there's a major development tonight in the BRITTNEY GRINER case. CTV's Laurentia Moten is standing by with the details.
Hours ago, the Russian court sentenced basketball star BRITTNEY GRINER to 9 years in prison. The verdict is coming nearly 6 months after GRINER was arrested at a Moscow airport. GRINER's a 2-time Olympic gold medalist and a Women's National Basketball Association star. She was arrested in mid-February as she arrived to play overseas in Russia during the WNBA offseason. Today, the Russian court found her guilty of deliberately bringing cannabis-infused vape cartridges into Russia.
A local county library welcomes a White House official this morning. Dr. Cameron Webb, a senior advisor to the White House COVID-19 response team, visited the Hyattsville Library branch today. Webb took part in story time with children and also visited with families that were getting vaccinated at the library. Officials say the library system has played a key role in providing parents with COVID-19 testing kits and vaccine information.
The reason why we got involved in the vaccine clinic effort, as you can see today, we're doing to help with the under 5s get vaccinated. There's a lot of folks who are taking their time in getting vaccines because they want to have confidence in the vaccine, they want to have confidence in the provider. And the library can oftentimes step in to complement the work of our public health organizations and even our clinical providers in just saying, hey, this is something that you can trust.
We talked to parents long before vaccines became available. They're pretty clear. They wanted their kids to get vaccinated at familiar locations, places where they felt safe. And for a lot of parents, they wanted to do so in the context of their usual care. And so one of our first jobs is to make sure vaccines are widely available and accessible in those spaces, which is why it's so great that right across the hall there's a place for parents to get their kids vaccinated.
The Hyattsville branch has been open since March of this year. Well, here are the latest COVID-19 numbers for our area. The Maryland Department of Health has confirmed 1,973 new cases. The county's positivity rate is 16.14%. 0 Marylanders have died of COVID over the past 24 hours, and 604 people are in the hospital. And if you've stepped outside today, you know it is hot. Today's extreme weather has caused the National Weather Service to issue a heat advisory for the entire Washington metro region. Due to high temperatures and humidity, officials are recommending that residents stay inside and drink lots of water. The advisory lasts until 8 o'clock tonight. And you're watching CTV News. I'm Byron Scott. More news in just a bit. Stay tuned.
The American Red Cross blood supply is at historically low levels this winter, and we're facing a dangerous situation across the country. Without the blood they need, hospitals may be forced to make tough decisions about patient care. Donors are needed now to ensure blood is available for everyone who needs it when they need it. The good news is, you can help. Make an appointment to give now. Visit redcrossblood.org or call 1-800-RED-CROSS. Patients are counting on you.
Welcome back. As many states try to restrict abortion access, President Biden takes a step to help women navigate the obstacles some are experiencing. Just yesterday, Biden signed an executive order that will help women who have to travel out of state to get the medical procedure. The order will also ensure that healthcare providers comply with federal non-discrimination laws.
I'm signing this important executive order. I'm asking the Justice Department that, much like they did in the civil rights era, to do everything in their power to protect these women seeking to invoke their rights. In states where clinics are still open, to protect them from intimidation, to protect the right of women to travel from a state that prohibits seeking the medical attention that she needs to a state to provide that care, to protect the woman's right to FDA-approved a Federal Drug Administration approved medication that's been available for over 20 years.
Meantime, earlier this week, voters in Kansas decided to keep abortion legal in the state. As we mentioned yesterday, the U.S. Senate overwhelmingly passed the PACT Act, which will help fund a new veterans center in Prince George's County. The bill will also expand health care benefits for veterans who develop illnesses due to their exposure to burn pits during military service. Coming up next week, we'll speak with retired Lieutenant Colonel Anne Marie Tario, who did 4 tours of service, 2 in Iraq, 1 in Afghanistan, and 1 in Bosnia. During those tours, she was exposed to massive burn pits, which she says ultimately led to her deteriorating health.
And at all tours in combat, you have burn barrels and burn pits and basically landfills. So you lived and worked around all of that. And it was just burning of all materials, water bottles, tape, paper, you name it, it burned. As you know, I had bladder cancer. So it's 77% men, 70% smokers. And the top recipients of bladder cancer are military and firefighters. So where the air is toxic, that's pretty much the people that have bladder cancer.
Again, tune in next week for the full story. A University of Maryland sophomore says students like her who terminated their housing contracts due to COVID are having trouble returning to on-campus housing. In a Diamondback Cop op-ed, Rebecca Schur says not only was it difficult to cancel her housing contract, but says UMD punishes students who are temporarily unable to live on campus.
My freshman year was in the fall of 2020, which we all know was a very tumultuous year. The COVID pandemic was exacerbated all throughout the country, but especially at a large university. So I tried to be very careful. I wore masks everywhere. And somehow, unfortunately, I still contracted COVID-19. So when I decided that I wanted to move home in the spring, I didn't realize that it would be so difficult. I filed a petition for release. The petition was denied, so I had to submit further documentation. And then after my petition was finally granted, I later learned that I would not be as eligible as other students for on-campus housing. I would have very low priority for dorms or even for on-campus apartments.
Schur says students should be given a chance to explain why they should be provided on-campus housing and not penalized for hardships or extenuating circumstances. A soon-to-come housing development in Hyattsville is putting out a call for artist proposals. The Stanley Martin Gateway West development plans to put a permanent work of art on the entrance to the new complex, which will feature 331 townhouses not far from the West Hyattsville Metro Station.
Basically, we open up the opportunity to the public, to an artist or artist team, to propose a concept for that site. And we'll have a juried review of that concept. The artists submit their qualifications, their past work, their background, their vision for their work, and a small sketch. We don't ask for a fully rendered design. At the project budget we're working, we're just asking for a concept. There are a few ways you can conduct a public art call, and in this one, we're basically shopping for a concept that we like, and then we'll develop the final design with the sculptor.
Artists have until August 17th to submit a proposal. To do so, log on to hycdc.org. We'll have more news in just a bit. Stay tuned.
1 in 365 African Americans battle sickle cell disease. I was one of them. A blood stem cell transplant from a perfectly matched donor saved my life. Many patients are waiting to find their match. They need more Black donors to join the Be the Match registry. Learn more about becoming a donor and access free patient resources by visiting endsicklecell.org today. You or someone you know could be the cure.
Welcome back. Route 32 in Howard County is now a wider, safer highway following a $128 million overhaul between Maryland 108 and I-70. Governor Larry Hogan today cut the ribbon on what's now a 4-lane divided highway. The changes are aimed at cutting down on congestion for the tens of thousands who use Maryland 32 corridor every day.
This corridor is an important gateway to jobs and economic growth, which connects vibrant communities with business centers. More than 23,000 vehicles travel along this roadway each and every day. From parents taking their children to school, to commercial vehicle drivers making deliveries, and thousands of employees heading off to work.
Traffic is projected to double on that highway by 2042. And Prince George's will open its first Trader Joe's this fall. The new Trader Joe's will be part of Astor, a new apartment complex opening this month on the 7100 block of Baltimore Avenue. Apartments in the complex begin at just under $2,200 a month. The nearly 15,000 square foot grocery store will be located on the south part of the University of Maryland's campus and be within walking distance for many students. A Riverdale Park that expands bike paths around future Purple Line stops. The town is prepping the area in anticipation of the new light rail system scheduled to open in the year 2026. On-street bike lanes were recently added on River Tech Court in the Discovery District, a 150-acre public-private research hub run by the University of Maryland. And the Maryland Terps are back on the football field. Laurentia Moulton has details in this Sports Page report.
Thank you, Byron. Football fans, good news. University of Maryland training camp has officially started. All players and coaches returned from summer break and hit the turf on Wednesday.
The feeling of excitement for this season is mostly due to the program's offense, and it's at an all-time high. This season's confidence stems from the fact that mostly everyone who made the Terps offense great last season has came back. One of those key individuals is quarterback Taulio Tango Vailoa, who is coming off of a record-breaking season. Head coach Mike Loxley says fans should be thrilled to have him back.
There's no doubt in my mind that Taulio Tango Vailoa is one of the better quarterbacks in college football, and our Terp Nation should be really excited to know that we've got a guy returning that has the skill set he has, that has done some of the things, some of the records he broke. There's no doubt that I've got a lot of faith in him, and our team has a lot of faith in him.
On the basketball court, there's been a hard hit for the UConn women's basketball team. Star guard Paige Beckers tore her ACL in her left knee during a pickup game this week and will miss the entire upcoming season. This is her second major injury while playing for this program. Beckers was named the 2020-2021 Associated Press National Player of the Year, becoming the first freshman to earn that honor. The University of Connecticut's women's basketball team now has to find a new way to maneuver through next season.
In Birdland, the Baltimore Orioles are soaring. They completed their first series sweep over the Texas Rangers with a 6-3 win. This win came even after trading leaders Trey Mancini and Jorge Lopez earlier this week.
Up next, they begin an interleague at-home series against Pittsburgh on Friday. Now today, WNBA star BRITTNEY GRINER was found guilty and sentenced to 9 years in a Russian prison. She was also fined 1 million rubles, the equivalent of $16,500. The Olympian has been detained in Russia since mid-February, and Griner's legal team says it's very disappointed by the guilty verdict. That's all I have for sports. Back to you, Byron.
Let's get a quick check now on our weather forecast tonight. Scattered thunderstorms with lows in the 70s. Tomorrow, mostly sunny with rain expected late in the day, highs near 91. Saturday, cloudy with a chance of thunderstorms, highs around 89. And Sunday, mostly sunny with possible thunderstorms, highs in the low 90s. And that's our news for tonight. Thanks for joining us. I'm Byron Scott. Good night.